Good afternoon, everyone. This is Cathy Rodriguez Aguirre, President and CEO for the Sacramento Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. And today I'm on location. So Smud is doing some work over at our house, and my best friend, who also happens to be the daughter of one of our founders, Luis Leiva, has graciously agreed to let me work from her office today. So everything you're seeing today is here from courtesy of the Leiva household. I also wanted to let you know today that I'm incredibly excited about our guests that we have. I was reading through Comstock's magazine this month, and they have an article about our young professionals, emerging leaders, and I was going through it, reading these wonderful stories about the work that's being done, and I came across this young woman and thought, we need to know her. And she was excited to say yes to come join us today for Juntos with Cathy, which is always about us being stronger together, and to bring her into our fold so you guys can get to know her a little bit better, know what she's doing. I think, like me, you're going to be incredibly impressed and also be, seeking her out, wanting to know more. So today we have Juliana Almanza, and she is a chief of staff at the Association of General Contractors, and she's going to share a little bit of her story with us. Hi, Juliana. How are you?
Hi, I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm good. So as I was sharing with everyone, I'm so excited to have you here and have the opportunity to meet you. We were talking a little bit before we went live, and let you know that what's happened is I was reading my monthly issue of Comstock's magazine, and this one in particular I really enjoy because it has all the features of our young emerging leaders that are here in the region. And I came across your story and just thought, wow, like this is a really incredible young woman who is in a type of industry that there's not a lot of women in, let alone not many Latinas, and at the level you're at, because basically you are second in command over at the Association of General Contractors as the chief of staff. Isn't that correct?
I am, yes.
That's phenomenal. So tell us a little bit. We're going to start right there. So tell us,
Sure.
How did you come to find yourself in this position? What did you do to get here in this industry?
Yeah, interesting enough. So after college, I worked retail for about 4 years, trying to navigate my way into, an office job. I had graduated from Sacramento State with a business administration degree. I was doing some job searches and hopped online and found an advertisement on Craigslist of all places as an administrative benefits administrator for AGC of California, and applied to it. And I sent in my resume, a cover letter, and they called me back and asked me in for an interview. Mm-hmm. And so I joined the organization in 2014 and have been with them ever since. So about 7 years now.
Wow. That's amazing. So really, so you came in here. I love that it started with a Craigslist ad, right? Because so many of us look at that and think, is that a real ad? Yeah. And here you are saying, yes, this is actually how I started in my career here. So you started as an admin. So what did you do, to build yourself up, to get into the position you're in right now?
Yeah, so I started as an admin. It was a basic benefits administrator and some HR components to it. And I knew that I was going to have to work my way up if I was going to want to, ever be in management or anything like that. So I just fully committed to doing the best that I could and working really hard in that position. And, the association is a small but mighty team. And so we cover the entire state. And so wow. As opportunities were coming arising within the organization, I would just jump on them. I would ask, can I take on that part of that role, or, can I apply to that position? And slowly started to navigate my way through the organization. I have worked in everywhere from HR to the communications to doing operations for the organization, kind of learning the ins and outs of the association as a whole. And lucky enough to have been granted the opportunity to be chief of staff for AGC for now about 2 years. So it's been a wild ride for me, but one that I've had the privilege to having take part of. And I honestly can't see myself doing anything else.
That's so great. So I love what you shared is the fact that you sought out the opportunities, you asked, and then you worked really hard, to get where you're at. Can you tell us a little bit about the association itself and, what it does and what it represents?
Yeah, so AGC of California is an association for the construction industry. We serve three different types of work. We serve the building, the heavy highway and transportation, and utility and infrastructure. And as I mentioned, we're a statewide organization. We cover the entire state except for San Diego. San Diego does have a sister chapter there. And so we serve anything from general contractors to specialty contractors to our associate members. And we provide a broad variety of services, but just to name a couple, keep it short. We do labor relations. We do, which if you're not familiar, is similar to HR, but for union work. We also do a ton of advocacy on different layers. So we do advocacy statewide, regional, and at the local level. We also offer training and education for our membership, as well as a lot of work around workforce development, which includes, finding the next generation of construction professionals. And we have just ventured into, which is super exciting for me, a lot of work around diversity, equity, and inclusion for the industry.
Oh, good. And so what does that look like for you when you talk about, looking at diversity, equity, and inclusion? What does that mean?
Yeah. So, to our, our membership has really committed to moving the needle for diversity, equity, and inclusion in the industry. The construction industry is predominantly male and dominated by, those individuals. And so they have truly committed to making direct impact and change. And so last year, they kind of tasked staff with creating, recommendations around how to move forward and how to move the needle around diversity, equity, and inclusion. And we actually created a task force built up of our members and staff. And just at our May board meeting this past May, the recommendations were approved by our board. And so moving forward, we'll be working diligently to create programs that our members could institute in their own organizations to truly promote the DEI efforts within their organizations to slowly start to make some, we have a lot of work to do. I can't say that we've solved it overnight, but their commitment is absolutely there. And it's just so exciting to be part of an organization who is putting that at the forefront of their global initiatives.
That's so good to hear, because actually that kind of parlays pretty easily to the next, question for you is that the reality is, there's not a lot of women in this industry. And here you are in very much a leadership role at this organization that's, construction, and that, has, for many years been dominated, mostly by males in there. And so do you feel that you have even more of a vested interest and, a role to really increase, the percentage of women in particular in joining this field?
Oh, absolutely. It's just a true testament to the current leadership at AGC of California. Our current CEO is truly invested in we're making impact for the industry as a whole, right? But also internally for the organization. And if you look at our, staff directory, that is a true testament to where we're going and our commitment to bringing in more women and people of color, just generally. I just find it to be such an honor to be, second in command there at the association as not only a woman, but, the different layers of who I am, which is, like a first generation Latina and so forth. So yes, absolutely. I feel completely committed to making that direct impact to start moving the needle on not only women in construction, but also for individuals of color.
That's so great. That's good to hear it, because it really takes that internal investment and mission in order to make change. So it's good to hear that you guys have put in this plan together and are putting into practice. And you also said right now that first generation, right? So tell us a little bit about where you grew up and what made you decide to go ahead and stay here in Sacramento, right? Because that in itself is decision made that's really parlayed to where you're at now.
Yeah, so I'm actually from a really small town right outside of Merced. It's called Lee Grand. It's predominantly agriculture is the dominating industry. As I mentioned, I'm a first generation Mexican American. My parents are from Guanajuato, from Leon, a little town right outside of Leon. They were field workers their entire lives. My dad was a tomato picker and my mom worked picking bell peppers. And so I grew up in a low income household in Lee Grand, but obviously that was never going to stop me. I was on a mission. I think as a first generation individual, I think hard work becomes super innate in you. And so watching my parents kind of overcome adversity, from moving from a completely different country to the US and having to work, in 3-digit weather, picking tomatoes for, very little money actually. Kind of launched me into the goal of, I was going to leave Lee Grand to start something for myself, to start to build some generational wealth within my family structure. And so I applied to a bunch of different schools and got into some UCs, but unfortunately, they were very expensive. So I did say yes to Sacramento State, and I'm so happy I did. Coming from a small town, I remember coming here and thinking, wow, this is such a big city. I'm not going to know anyone. What am I going to do? And I quickly realized that Sacramento is actually a small, tight-knit community. And what's really, really great is that it's actually very diverse in cultures and backgrounds, which I think is what makes Sacramento so dynamic. And so I decided to make Sacramento home for me after college. And funny enough, I had a professor an ethnic studies professor at Sac State. Her name was Julie Figueroa. She actually told the class that you can make small strides in your family dynamics in building generational wealth by bringing back communication and information to your families. And so every winter break, I asked to bring my 3 preteen nieces to stay with me for a week. And so I did that for many years while I was in college, to have them tour the college and all of that good stuff. And they're all here. They're all enrolled at Sac State, all 3 of them. And 2 of them actually lived in the same dorm that I did at Sac State. And one of them actually lived in the same room that I did at Sac State.
Oh my gosh, that's so great.
Not only is this home to me and my husband, and I'm actually pregnant, I'm going to be having a baby boy here in about a month and a half, but it's also home to my extended family now. I have 3 nieces here, so.
Oh, you know what? I love that. And, that's what we know for sure, right? That the way to make change, and I know very similar, we all have parents that have worked so hard to make sure that our options are more, right? That's the whole purpose of everything. And to hear you make sure that that's also coming to the rest of your family, that's what's critical. And so I can't imagine how your niece must have felt thinking, I'm in the same room that my Thea was in. I wonder what she was doing. Probably, I'm sure you told her I'm studying all the time.
Yeah, exactly. Nothing but studying.
Nothing but studying in there. So you have this, you're at, in this great part of your career, you've this educational background that you're bringing other people with you. It's wonderful. I'm sure your parents are so proud of you. So all of this happens, and then let's be honest, you then get to be in Comstock's magazine. How did it feel like the moment? There's one thing when they tell you it's going to happen and you do the interview, but how did you feel when you actually opened the pages and saw yourself there?
Oh my gosh, I was just absolutely overcome with emotion. I felt so humbled and honored by the whole experience. It's so neat. I'd never done something like that. It was super exciting, I think, to, on so many different layers. Never really did it for the accolade, though it does feel very special and I'm super honored by it. More so for me, it's all about representation, having, for my nieces who are in college and for my younger nieces who are, growing up still, to be able to see, a first generation Latina in an article, in a magazine, that is, prevalent here in Sacramento, I think is super important that we continue to make those strides so that, as little girls and little boys are, reading through those articles, they see themselves and know that they too can, you just have to work really hard. You can do anything you want, just have to work really hard. So I was just so honored for the opportunity to be even considered, let alone actually getting the honor. So super excited.
Well, like I said, when we started this conversation, it was just wonderful to see, to get in the role that I'm in. It feels that I have this opportunity to interact and get to meet with, a wide spectrum of people. But it's always for me really special to get to discover someone new, which I have to be honest, it's how I felt when I was reading about you, and just seeing where you're at. And you're completely right. A lot of what we see is, what inspires us. And, for those that are coming up, to be able to see something like that and hear your story. And I know there was a quote in there that you basically, have shared with us now. It's all about working really hard. Right? At the end of the day, there's no easy way. It's really about, putting the time and the effort and, hearing from you, and the fact that you were just very focused from the very beginning, like, I'm going to put in the work, to get to where I'm at. It's a story that it always needs to be told. And like I said, had I known that your three nieces were here, I think I would have loved to have them here too, to hear from their perspective, how they see you and what that's happened, for them in that capacity. So, as we, continue with this, is there anything that you have on the horizon that you're looking forward to doing? Obviously, you're going to be a mom, so that's, a big part of everything. But just as you're looking at now, establish yourself in the community as this rising leader, is there something that you see like that's something that I really want to make sure that I do and put, my mark on that you've been thinking about?
Interesting enough, I've been lucky enough to be part of also Leadership Sacramento this year, and working through the program itself. And I think it's really opened my eyes to, I'm really looking forward to kind of integrating more into the community. I think you hear about, opportunities every now and then, but I think what the program has truly done for me is allowed me to hear from those individuals who are already, doing the work within the community and making direct impact. And so I'm very interested in, getting more involved, especially, with organizations such as, the Sacramento Hispanic Chamber of Commerce and other organizations within Sacramento, to truly start to make some positive strides in different arenas. So my hope is to just continue on this path and continue to be part of the Sacramento community holistically.
Well, that's good to hear. So, no secret, since, again, before we went live, we really do want you to consider us as a place for you to become more involved and engaged. There's so much that you have to, to offer with our organization. And I know a lot of our businesses and members are at large, just from listening to right now, both from your organization and your story, and, just being able, to assist in that growth, for the membership that we have in small businesses. So, so I'm hoping that, you keep that in mind as you start to look around and realize that we would definitely value having you with us here. As I told you at the beginning, sometimes our time, there's so much, and our time goes by really quickly in this piece. But before we end, I would like to know from you is what is something that, you have your nieces, you have your baby boy that's coming soon, but what is like one thing that you see as an opportunity here in the Sacramento region for our Latino community, that you looked around and you thought, you know what, this is someplace that there is, real opportunity either for growth or change, that you've identified that, here's something that could really happen?
Oh my goodness, that's a tough question. Well, just continuing to advance whatever career pathway you might find yourself in, just reminding yourself that hard work and perseverance and being absolutely relentless about your ambition is absolutely key. One of the things I said in the article was that you don't have to have the money. I came from low income. You don't have to have the connections. I had none. You just have to be absolutely willing to put in the hard work. So whether your pathway here in Sacramento was to go to Sac State, or whether you're looking for a career pathway, whatever it is that you commit yourself to, do it with so much effort and be relentless about what you want for yourself and for your life. So I think hard work is key to kind of moving the needle for Latinos, and just knowing that you do have a community behind you. And feel free to reach out to me if there's absolutely anything that I can do to assist you with whatever your journey might look like.
That's great. Juliana, you are, like I said, I was inspired as soon as I read your article. And you know that, right? Because I had a member of my team reach out immediately because I wanted to make sure that we got you on here as soon as possible, so that I would have the opportunity to get to meet you personally. And then for others that are watching, Juntos today, get an opportunity to hear your story and see you. You're just, you make us proud, is what you do. And so I'm sure, just like your family and everyone else, that's what you're doing, and certainly inspiring everyone along the way. So like I said, we're open for you to become more engaged with us. We're eager to support you as you continue on your journey, and we really appreciate you spending the time here with us this afternoon. Yes, so thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's been an absolute honor to be on with you. So thank you so much.
Great. Thank you, Juliana. So we expect my phone call too, by the way.
Yes.
So yes. So thank you.
Thank you.
For everyone that was joining us today here for Juntos with Cathy, we had Juliana Almanza on. And as always, these are, recorded. So if you missed part of it, you can go to our Facebook Live or YouTube and catch the video again. And I hope you do, because this was a really special interview that we're able to do today. And I wanted to take just our last, couple of minutes with everyone here, just as a quick reminder. So for everyone that hasn't seen already, Sacramento County has put back the mask ordinance. So for anyone going out, if we're going to stores, anywhere, vaccinated or not, they are mandating that you go ahead and put the mask on. And this is my message. We know everyone has a lot of personal views on the vaccinations, but as someone here that's representing business at Sacramento Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, our business recovery is really going to be happen when we get over COVID. And the best way for us to move through this illness is for people to get vaccinated. So we hope that you, if you're wavering and unsure about doing it, that you rethink that. Think about it. There's families out there that have decided not to, who are now in the hospital. The COVID vaccine is not going to keep you from getting COVID, but it could keep you from getting hospitalized and from dying. And so we just want to make sure our Latino community is behind on vaccinations. We're really urging you to, if you're wavering, to rethink that decision. Our business recovery really depends on you making the decision to get vaccinated. So that's my message for you today. And Juliana, again, thank you so much for joining us and being here with us. We really appreciate it, and we look forward to seeing you again at future events.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
And again, everyone, this was Juntos with Cathy, and we will be back next Thursday. And we look forward to having another interesting conversation with our guests then. So thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful afternoon.